All right, welcome back to WMAC Now with your host Chuck Stevenson. Welcome back, chat. Welcome back. This is first time I've been live in over a year, well over a year. I think the last time I went live was November of 2023, and just trying to get my feet wet again, trying to get back into the groove, trying to get into a steady schedule, or not necessarily a schedule, but trying to get regular, like consistent with posting content again. It's been a long process back. I talked about this I want to say in November. I talked about, why the channel had kind of fallen off a little bit and, why content was sparse and sporadic. But I think I found my groove again. And now that the UFC is actually getting kicking again, after the end of the year lull, end of the year into the new year lull, and they're actually starting to schedule some good fights again. We've got an Invicta tomorrow, the first Invicta of the year. Let's see. Deep Jewels has their first event scheduled for the year. I got to put out a video on that. WMA it's starting to pick up again this year, and there's some good fights and stuff happening. So I'm feeling good about it. I'm trying to have a more positive outlook on what's going on. So welcome back. If you're not familiar with the channel, it is WMAC Now. I'm your host, Chuck Stevenson. I've been following the sport for 20 years now. I just hit the 20-year mark as a fan of the sport. So, yeah, it's been a long road for me. I'm old. But so if you've never watched the WMA report before, it was for a long time, it was a weekly thing or almost weekly where I went over fight reviews, news, fight previews, and then I'd try to have like a discussion topic at the end. First show back, this is going to be pretty condensed, mainly going to be talking about like there was like one big fight happened last weekend, and then but we've got a lot of fights coming up this weekend. I mean, we've got Invicta 60, first Invicta event of the year. Things are looking up for them. They just renewed their broadcast deal with CBS Sports, so they'll be staying on CBS Sports for the foreseeable future, which is nice. It's you got to have a broadcast partner in MMA. If you don't have a broadcast partner, you're basically relying on people to come, on individual fans to come and pay for every single event. And that's a big ask. That is a big ask. So for them to have a broadcast partner in CBS Sports, and that's their like main U.S. broadcast partner. They have other broadcast partners around the world, and they're also available in other countries via it's like a 99-cent or $1.99 pay-per-view on YouTube. That's nothing. But for them to have like a main broadcast partner that's going to be their main source of income, that's major. We also have UFC 312 this weekend. That's huge with the big strawweight championship. Not my favorite fight. It's a good fight. I just don't think this is the fight to make right now. And I'll give my reasons on that. And I know a lot of people disagree with me on that, and they're free to. But yeah, it's a big weekend. But before we can get into the big weekend, let's talk about last weekend. So we had UFC Fight Night, Saudi Arabia, or UFC Fight Night, Adesanya versus Imavov. We had one ladies bout, I think it was the first professional women's bout in Saudi Arabia. Now, PFL has had a few bouts with that one Saudi girl, but apparently those were like considered amateur bouts. So this was the first professional women's MMA bout in Saudi Arabia. Jazz the Vicious defeated Myro Mayra Bueno Silva via unanimous decision. Now, Bueno Silva was coming back down to flyweight from up in the bantamweight division. Jazz DeVicious was ranked, I think, 12 at the time at flyweight, but Jazz DeVicious came ahead with the unanimous decision. She moved up to 13-3 as a pro. Bueno Silva fell to 10-5-1. Now, I could really go into the whys and hows of what happened here, and I probably will. But the biggest thing to understand about Mayra Bueno Silva, it breaks down into two parts. Part one, she is a single round fighter. Okay? Look at most of her wins. Particularly in the UFC. They come in the first round. They come via first round submission. All right, can't pull it up on the PC because I have my my little VPN on. But give me a second here so I can look it up on my tablet. But look at Mayra Bueno Silva. 10-5-1. Lost 3 straight now. But look at most of her wins in the UFC. Okay. Lena Landsberg. She beat Lena in round 2. Okay, I'll give her that one. She made it out of the first round and won that one. But Stephanie Egger, first round submission. Wu Yanan, okay, that was a decision, but that's like a gimme fight practically. She fought Montana De La Rosa, went to decision. It was a draw. Mara Barella, first round submission. Jillian Robertson, first round submission. In the Contender Series, Mayana Souza, first round submission. But look at a lot of her other fights. Marina Moroz, decision loss. Manon Fior, decision loss. She beat Holly Holm. That was in the first round. That was early in the second round. Very early second round. Okay, so she got a second round win there. But for the most part, she is a single round fighter. She goes to decision. She loses. Which lends into part B. She's a front runner. If she's not ahead, she shuts down. Just completely shuts down mentally. If she's not winning, the moment she stops winning, she's already lost. Like, you get ahead of her in a fight, you start taking control of a fight, boom, she's done. She cannot deal with it. So if you can get out of the first round against Bueno Silva and start winning, you've got the fight won. Practically, you have the fight won if you can get out of the first round. Shoot, if you start winning in the first round, you've won. That's the biggest thing I've noticed about her. I noticed it before this fight, and I think I've talked about it. But yeah, that is the key to winning against her. Get out of the first round. That's when she's at her best. That's when she's at her strongest. She's going to try to bum rush you into the clinch and get into some type of submission. And if you can stop that, you're good. You're gravy against her. Other than that, I mean, Jazz DeVicious just whooped her, walloped her. It was a nice beating from Jazz DeVicious. And she moved up, I think, to number 8 or 9 in the UFC flyweight rankings. Let me look that up here real quick. So UFC.com rankings. flyweight. She moved all the way up to number 9. And there was a few fighters that got removed too. Catlin Sermonara used to be Chukagian. She got removed from the rankings. I think someone else got removed from the rankings. So there was a lot of moves. But she moved from 12 to 9. So good on her. I like Jasmine. She's a tough fighter and she fights to her strengths. Like, she's not one of these fighters that's going to try to mix it up with her opponent. Wherever her opponent does best. Jasmine knows her game. She knows what she needs to do to win. And that's what she applies. And that's what I like in fighters. Some fighters, they constantly got to try to, prove themselves doing something. It's like, that's nice, but why? Like, some people say, well, that's how they prove themselves. I mean, that's how they prove it to everyone else. And, they're trying to improve and stuff. It's like, yeah, but I get it. But that's also how a lot of fighters lose, because they improve in one certain area and they think they can take on the world in that area now, and then their career falls apart sometimes. Whereas the fighters that know their strengths and stick to them are going to get the most consistent results. And that's what we've been seeing with Jazz DeVicious. I mean, she has been getting pretty consistent results lately. I mean, I think she's won, 3 straight now? 4 straight. She's won 4 straight since losing to Tracy Cortez back in September of 2016. She fought 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, she fought 3 times last year. Her latest fight in 2024 was in November against Ariane Lipski da Silva. And then boom, quick turnaround, February 1st. I love it. That's what I like to see out of fighters. Jasmine wants to move into contendership, and that's what she's doing. And honestly, that's what she needs to do, because she's 35 years old. So her window is going to be very small. Yeah, Colostrum says Jasmine mopped the floor with Myra. And I see Marcus Mustard. And says, yeah, he agrees. Some fighters practice grappling so much and go to the ground when they shouldn't. Disengage instead. Yeah, if you're primarily a striker, you don't have to fall in love with your grappling just because you start getting good at it. Or if you're the biggest thing are the grapplers who improve on their striking. Man, they get one knockout and they become instant strikers. It's like, that's insane. I think that's insane. It's like, just because you get one knockout doesn't mean, you've got the best hands in the world. Stick to what you know. Stick to what got you to the dance. And 35 is getting up there for a fighter. And the weird thing is, in MMA, usually your prime, because it's such a steep learning curve and getting to the point where you got to have everything that you need to learn, everything that you need to learn. It's a very steep learning curve. Even if you start in your early 20s, sometimes it takes you to like your late 20s, early 30s to hit your prime in the sport. And then before you know it, a few years pass and your prime is done. Who's Pogues? Pogues should have won. I'm not sure what Marcus means there. I don't have the numbers on who's watching where, but shout out to everyone watching on X. We've got 4 viewers on X, formerly Twitter, according to this. So shout out to all my viewers on X. Oh, Jamal Pogues. Okay. So that is it for this past weekend. So let's get into this weekend. First up, we have on UFC Fight Pass tomorrow night, Friday. What is that? February 7th. The long missing LFA Women's Strawweight Champion, Rose Conceição, returns against, what is this girl's name? Surprise, surprise. She's fighting another Brazilian in LFA. Ooh, a Brazilian fighting a Brazilian in LFA. In Brazil. Laney Silva. Rose Conceição taking on Laney Silva. Now, we have not seen Rose Conceição in LFA since 2023. She spent all of last year sitting on the sidelines because she managed to get a fight in the Contender Series back in September, which she then lost by decision. And rather than try to get back into LFA before the end of the year, she sat out. And now we're getting this fight here in February. I'm not a big fan of what's going on here in LFA. I'm not a big LFA fanboy. I don't like the way you know what? No, hold on. Let's talk about the fight itself. So Conceição comes in at 7-1. Silva comes in at 6-1. Of course, Rose coming in off of that loss. And was it September? Yeah, September 24th to Alexia Tainara in the Contender Series. Before that, she was undefeated. Won the title, the LFA title, in July of 2023, and then took all that time off. All the time off from July 2023 to September 2024. She didn't fight. Laney Silva, let's see how active she's been lately. She's 6-1. She last fought in September as well. Picked up a win over Sofia Bagashvili in UAE Warriors. Nice first round submission win. Had a kickboxing bout the month before. Defeated Lucia Abdelgarim, who's known for fighting in Japan. And then fought in July of 2024, picked up a win in LFA, in a LFA Brazil event. So, including kickboxing, she's won 3. She fought. Oh, wait, she had a loss in 2024, like early 2024, via split decision. So she fought 3 times in 2024 in MMA, plus a kickboxing bout. So she had a very active year. So Laney Silva is already coming in with more activity, at least. You know, she's not going to be coming in with any ring rust. Whereas Rose, one fight in well over a year and a half, really. Let's see. Silva's the younger fighter, 22 to 27. About the same height, 5'5" for Conceição to 5'4" for Silva. Conceição has the reach advantage. Okay, so here's why I'm not happy about what's going on with this fight in LFA. While Rose Conceição was gone, LFA crowned an interim champion in Natasha Kuziotina. She won the interim title in December of 2023. And in that time, she fought once in August. She was supposed to fight in June. That bout got canceled. I forget why. Kuziotina fell sick. But then she defended it in August. Defeated Bruna Ellen via decision. And then fought... is that in Brazil? No, that was in New York. Okay. And then she went to Brazil to face a Brazilian challenger, defended the, what do you call it? Interim title against a Brazilian challenger in Brazil, slightly more experienced fighter, and defeated and won. Broke that girl's arm, and somehow that girl was allowed to continue fighting. Whatever. So in the time Conceição sat out and only had one fight, LFA crowned an interim champ, and then she defended it twice. And then last month, Guziatina decided, I'm moving on. She signed up to the GFL, the Global Fight League, and then boom, immediately after that was announced, this fight gets announced. So Conceição finally comes out of hiding or whatever, or LFA just decides, well, this girl we never wanted to be champ anyway, or interim champ, is gone. Let's bring the real champ back. One of those two things is likely the answer to what happened. So you jerked around a girl, a woman for over a year and had her defending an interim title while your champ sat out. And then as soon as the interim champ moves on, boom, the regular champ finally makes a reappearance. And it's back in Brazil against a fellow Brazilian. And who is LFA run by? Ed Suarez, who I'm pretty sure, if he's not Brazilian, his ties in Brazil go as deep as the Amazon River. And he manages a ton of Brazilian fighters. I'm pretty sure Rose is one of them. So yeah, I feel like, what's up, Za? So I feel like LFA just really jerked Guziatina around. I'm not happy about that. And it feels like Brazilian fighters always get favored in LFA. As for who wins this fight, I really just don't care. If there's a lull going on in the action in Invicta, I'll turn it on or I'll put it on a smaller screen while Invicta goes on. But I'm not that really concerned about this because who cares? It's LFA title. All right. So moving on, we have Invicta FC 60, which comes in from where are they at tomorrow night? They're in Atlanta, Georgia. Second time in Atlanta. And I was originally planning on going to this one. And then the main fighter I wanted to see dropped out because she couldn't get an opponent. So I just said, screw it, which is disappointing because it seems like every time, out of the 3 times that Invicta has come east of Missouri, and it would have been a shorter flight for me, it's like, I can't ever manage to get there. Or something happens and this time I just said, no, I'm not going to go to this one. Anyway, there are 7 bouts going on. No title fight this time, but there's some good bouts here, and there's some returning names and a couple of new names that I'm excited to see. A lot of the fights from the November card, or some of the fighters from the November card are on this one, which is nice. One fighter who hasn't fought in a long time is returning. And yeah, it's not a terrible card. It's just really lacking in like the star power, I guess. And it doesn't have like the oomph that a title fight would have. Zaz says UFC should have signed Guziatina, but I guess she got word they didn't want her and signed for a geriatric fight league. Yeah, I'm surprised about that too because, UFC loves to sign LFA champions. I don't know if it's because Guziatina's already in almost at her mid-30s already. I'm not sure what that's going on about. But yeah, she went to GFL. I don't blame her for getting away from LFA though, that's for sure. Anyway, first fight of the night for Invicta. This is a strawweight bout. Amber Medina making her pro debut against Anna Summers, who usually fights at atomweight, moving up to strawweight. Going over quick ones here. So Medina is making her pro debut. Looks like she won her last 2 amateur bouts, although she last fought a year and 9 months ago. So excuse me. Summers last fought 8 months ago, picked up a split decision win in a local show. Before that, dropped a decision loss to Melissa Gomez in Combate Global like a year and some change ago. Summers is a little bit younger, 31 to 33 for Medina. Why, man, 33 is a very late start for MMA to be turning pro. Don't have a height available for Medina. Summers is 5'4", 163 centimeters. So I've seen a couple of fights of Anna Summers. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty widely available and shared on social media and YouTube. Go watch her fight with Irlanda Galindo. She broke the girl's arm with a Kimura from guard. I mean, just snapped it. I don't know anything about Amber Medina, but yeah, Summers is exciting when she can get the fight to the ground. Also, very interesting follow on social media as well. Talks a lot about homeschooling her kid and just shares some very interesting views. Not for everybody. You may not disagree with her, but one thing I do like is that she backs up a lot of what she says and what she espouses. Like, she backs it up with, pretty good logic and reasoning. So keep an eye on Anna Summers. As far as a pick, I'm going to go with Summers, but could be anyone's game. Then we move all the way up to featherweight for bout number 2. Killjoy Pendle taking on Julie Adorny. Now, Adorny was a replacement for Chrissa Timms. I'm not sure what went on with that and why it was replaced, or why Adorny had to come in and replace her. Let's see. Pendle comes in at 3-2. Adorny is 2-2. Pendle lost her Invicta debut. What was that? Back in November to Zarina Turi. Before that, she picked up a win over Carleen Chandler. Adorny has lost her last, after winning her first 2 pro bouts, dropped her last 2, both during finishes. And her last bout was a year and 3 months ago. Got submitted against Riley Martinez. Both in their mid-30s. Adorny's 34. Pendle is 35. These are some tall ladies. 5'11", 180 centimeters for Pendle. 5'9", 175 centimeters for Adorny. So I don't remember Adorny's last fight when she fought Riley Martinez, probably because it was over pretty quick. Pendle's last fight. Look, I'm gonna try not to be mean here, but she really killed the energy. Her fight, and it's not just on her, it's on her opponent too. But man, her last fight really killed the energy in the arena. It was, oof. Like, when that fight was finally ended, I think everyone felt a little bit of relief. Hopefully she comes out with a little bit more bad intentions this fight and quits just going into the clinch so willingly. I don't have a pick on this one. So then we move down to atomweight. Probably my favorite division. Juliana Peja taking on Hope Holmes, or Jessica Hope Holmes is her full name. This is the fight. I think that I'm probably looking forward to this one the most because both are up and comers in this division. Invicta kind of rebuilding the atomweight division along with their other divisions a while. Peja coming in at 2-0. Hummingbird Holmes coming in at 2-1. Peja made her Invicta debut 5 months ago, defeating Ailed Zubieta via decision. Now, Holmes dropped her Invicta debut back in November to Magdalena Javan via submission. But in that time, she did pick up a split decision win over a far more experienced Nicolai Rivera Kalinok. And that was about, honestly, like only like a month. Yeah, like a month later. So good on her for getting back out there and taking on someone much more experienced. I think she took that fight on short notice. Sorry for the coughing. I'm getting over a cold. Plus, I haven't talked this much in this amount of time in a while. Let's see. No age available on Tapology for Peja. Holmes is 34. Another late starter as a pro. Holmes is a shorty. 4'11", 150 centimeters to 5'3", 160 centimeters for Peja. So she's a bit tall for atomweight. Excuse me. I don't really have a pick for this one. Again, this is one. It's not that I don't have a pick because I'm just not as interested. It's just I just really want these ladies to come out and show out and put on a good fight for the atomweight division. I'm kind of leaning towards Peja a little more, but I'd be happy with either fighter winning as long as they put on a good performance. So this one, we're moving up to strawweight here. This one between Liana Perosian and Sheena Van Hoos, this is a do or die fight for both of these ladies. Do or die. Both of these ladies really, really, really need wins here. And Sheena Van Hoos, she hasn't fought in years either. So she's trying to come back with a big win. So let's get into it. So Lee Perosian coming in at 8-7. Van Hoos coming in at 6-6. So yeah, either Van Hoos gets out of her 500 record, driving Perosian into one, or Perosian gets just a little bit farther from that 500, from dipping down into 500, and hands Van Hoos a losing record. Neither of these ladies want to lose here. Perosian has lost 4 out of her last 5. She's lost her last 3 to Christina Williams 2.5 years ago, Elise Pone 1 year and 9 months ago. Her last fight was 7 months ago at Peak Fighting in Texas against Abril Anguiano. Dropped a decision. Van Hoos has not fought since getting TKO due to injury against Lindsey Van Zandt. That was in 2019. Now, she had picked up 2 straight wins before that. But, man, and had at least two straight losses before that. So, yeah. Going by the pattern, she's either going to drop another one or break the pattern and pick up a win here. But yeah, she has not fought since 2019. Age. Perosian is the elder fighter at 31. Van Hoos is 29. Now, I'll admit, probably because it's been so long since she fought, I still thought Van Hoos was younger. And that's probably because she started in Japan back when she was like in high school, like 15, 16, she started fighting. And yeah, I lost track, but I look at this, I'm like, holy crap, she's 29 already. Wow. Where does the time go? Another age reminder for me. Anyway, 5'5" is Perosian, 165 centimeters to 5'4", 163 centimeters for Van Hoos. This is another one. It's a toss-up. I mean, Van Hoos is bringing in almost 6 years of ring rust. What was the exact date on that last fight? October of 2019. So almost 6 years. Whereas Perosian can't seem to buy a win lately. She's back to strawweight. I know she had moved up to flyweight for a little bit. Maybe she just decided I can't do flyweight, go back to strawweight. I don't know. Again, this is a coin toss, really. Like, flip a coin. I know who I'd like to see win. I'd like to see Shino make a return. She's probably too big for atom weight at this point, but that's what she fought for years and years. But nice to see Shino Van Hoos back, and we'll see if she can pick up a win here. Zana chat says, Shino Van Hoosie, so kawaii desu. So kawaii desu. Yeah, because she fought in Japan for years. I think she's like she is like Japanese on her mom's side of the family, I think. Then we move up to flyweight for Victoria Leonardo taking on Ryla Nascimento. So Leonardo, she recently returned in, I want to say that was November. Yeah, November. Picked up a win after getting cut from the UFC. Picked up a big win. And yeah, Za in the chat there said, kudos to Leonardo for surviving the UFC matchmaker's attempts to kill her. I'm not sure there was a truer statement that was ever uttered. And she's going to look to continue that against India Nascimento, who is a strange signing for Invicta. I have a feeling this is like a kind of a gimme fight for Leonardo, so Invicta can build her back up into contention. But let's look at the stats here. So Fury Leonardo coming in at 10-6. Ryla India Nascimento coming in at 10-10, and that's why I say she's a weird signing. Of course, Leonardo coming in off of a win via armbar. I think that was her first submission win back in November in her return to Invicta. Before that, she had dropped 2 straight losses, both via knockout in the UFC. Nascimento picking up a win 4 months ago in XFC via decision, or Viviane Pajeda. That sounds familiar. Oh, Sakuri, yeah. Before that, she had lost 2 straight via decision and decision. Let's see. Leonardo is the elder fighter, 34-29 for Nascimento. She's also taller at 5'5", 165 centimeters to 5'2", 157 centimeters for Nascimento. I'm not a betting person, but if I were, I would probably put money on Leonardo to win this one. Look, usually Invicta's matchmaking isn't quite so obvious as this. But if they're bringing in a 500 fighter, you got to think it's to benefit their opponent. You just got to think that way. Like, one thing I'm really starting to notice the last couple of years Now that I've been a fan for watching this sport for 20 years, I don't know why it took me so long, but I'm really starting to notice. I guess because I'm following more worldwide MMA and stuff than I ever did before. But you really start to learn how matchmakers think when you look at these fights. And all my instincts are telling me Leonardo is being set up to win here. So I'm not giving you betting advice, but if you can find odds on this one, don't be surprised if Leonardo is the betting favorite. So I'm going with Leonardo to win this. Then we have a bantamweight bout. Both UFC veterans, or at least one UFC veteran and one Ultimate Fighter veteran. Shanna Young taking on Katarina Lenner. The Shanimal coming in at 10-7. The German Gypsy Lenner coming in at 8-5. Now Young picking up a win over Pamela Aguirre via knockout, like a record-setting knockout 2 months ago. Before that, she had dropped 2 straight in the PFL. Lenner coming in off of a loss all the way back in 2023 in LFA to Melissa Croden, who I think she is or was their bantamweight champ. And before that, she had a win over Abril Anguiano. That was a year and 10 months ago. Let's see. Lenner is the elder fighter, 34-33 for Young. Young, slightly taller, 5'7", 170 centimeters to 5'6", 168 centimeters. Although, looking at topology, the reach is reversed. Lenner has a 2-inch reach advantage, but probably gets nullified between the height. Out of their last 5 fights, Lenner has 4 losses. Young has 3 losses. So Young has 1 more win in their last 5 fights than Lenner does. And Lenner, unlike Young, has been pretty inactive. I mean, hasn't fought in over a year. And most of her fights, man, she takes a lot of long breaks in between fights. Okay. Young is actually serious about MMA. Lenner, I never see anything about her on social media about her training. It's all about promoting her OnlyFans. To me, at this point, Lenner is a part-time fighter. So I'm taking Shanna Young to win. And you know what? I will cheer for full-time fighters over part-time fighters / OnlyFans every time. I have mixed feelings about fighters doing OnlyFans, but if you're going to do that, at least be fighting on a regular basis, whereas Lenner doesn't. So let's go Shanna Young, who's a full-time fighter, or at least treats fighting like a full-time job. All right, so let's take a minute to talk about this one. We're supposed to get Jackie Catling versus, what's her name? Jamie Edenden. And this is like the second straight Invicta fight for Catling that got canceled. And if I remember right, let me see here. The last time she was supposed to fight was supposed to be Riley Martinez in Invicta 59 in, what was that, December. And I think it was Martinez that dropped out of that fight. It might have been Catalina as well. But that time is different. Catalina went and took a slap fight for slap fight. Dana White's, slap dick promotion last weekend, or not last weekend though. Yeah, last weekend, right? Or a week. Yeah, it was last weekend in Saudi Arabia. It was on like Thursday or Friday, and got dropped twice, lost the fight. So at the same time, she's scheduled for an MMA fight. She took a slap fight, which probably paid about the same. I don't know. I know slap fighting pays nothing, like virtually nothing. Probably even less than what Invicta pays. Double booking, to me, is just so unprofessional. Particularly, it is deeply unprofessional and it's disrespectful, particularly to whatever the second one is. I would say you're being more disrespectful to the second opponent or the latter fight, to that opponent, to that promotion. I see it as being very disrespectful because they're promoting you, they're putting out work, they're letting everybody know. People, you might have fans that are looking forward to this fight. I was looking forward to this fight. I know this was one of the fights on the card I was most looking forward to because this was promising some violence. And then Jackie Cadling takes a stupid slap fight, gets dropped twice, and now we can't have this fight. All because, I don't know, was she cocky? Probably. Why would you think that you're going to go and literally take intentional brain damage? That's what makes me the angriest. Like in a fight, you can at least avoid or try to avoid the strikes. But you literally go and get slapped in the head, in the face, take brain damage on purpose, intentionally take brain damage. And you cost yourself, your opponent, and a promoter a fight. Seriously, fighters, do not double book. It almost always ends up being disastrous. One championship is a great example of double booking fighters, and then it like almost magically every time blows up in their face. Do not double book. Fighters, do not double book. And I'm pretty sure she took the slap fight after this fight was already booked. Because I'm almost positive there's no way Shannon Knapp would have booked her for a fight the week after a slap event. In fact, I'm pretty sure she took the slap event after this fight was already announced. Because slap, man, I wish I was there so I could interview Shannon and ask about this because I would almost bet that. No, I'm not going to get into that conspiracy theory, but I'm not going to air that on here. But I'll let you wonder why. Why was an Invicta fighter scheduled for a slap fight when she already had a fight scheduled? All right, moving on to the main event. Bantamweight bout. Olga Rubin taking on Myra Cantuaria. So Rubin coming off of, I think the last time we saw her, she failed to capture the bantamweight title from Toledo Bernardo, who was the champ at the time. Cantuaria, I'm trying to remember the last time we saw her, but I'm pretty sure it was Invicta. Yep, it was. So both ladies are coming off of losses in this one, looking to get back into winning and like get back in a title contention. Now Rubin's fought for the title twice, came up short, which I think she fought for the title in the featherweight title in Bellator too, and came up short. So it seems like she's always a bridesmaid, never the bride in title situations. But you got to imagine she wants to change that. And Cantuaria, her loss was to the now champ, Jennifer Maia. So she's probably thinking, I definitely want to get that one back because now it means the title too. So both are probably a couple wins away from getting another shot. We'll see. Looking at the stats here, Big Bad Rubin comes in at 9-4. Cantuaria coming in at 10-6-1. Like I said, both are coming in off of losses. Rubin lost to Bernardo 7 months ago via rear naked choke submission. Cantuaria fought 5 months ago, lost to Jennifer Maia in Maia's return to Invicta. Both had coming in off of wins before that, though. So I can easily put those wins behind them. Cantuaria is the elder fighter, 36-35 for Rubin. But Rubin, very tall and statuesque for a bantamweight, 5'9", 174 centimeters to 5'7", 170 centimeters for Cantuaria. Hey, is everyone still here? Looks like my internet went out for a second, or I lost connection for a moment. So apologies for that. I'm not even sure where I was at a moment ago. All right. And just like that, I lost everybody too. Jeez, thanks. Thanks, internet. It looks like I lost all my X viewers, so might be off of X now. Anyway, picking Rubin to win this one. She's just more consistent overall as a fighter. So let's get through these UFC bouts real quick here because it's getting late and I got an early start in the morning. So UFC 312 goes down Saturday. We have two ladies bouts. First up in the flyweight division, Wan Tong, I don't know how you pronounce her name, taking on Bruna Brazil, who's moving up from strawweight for this bout. Let's see. The Joker coming in at 6-1. The special one, Brazil, coming in at 10-4-1. Now, Juan coming in off of her first professional loss as an MMA fighter 2 months ago to Gabriela Fernandez, who pulled a pretty big upset. Brazil is coming off of a win over Molly McCann 6 months ago, which was so satisfying to watch. It's always satisfying to watch McCann take a loss. But she's been rotating wins and losses. I mean, before the McCann win, she dropped a decision to Loma Lookboonmee almost a year ago. Had a win before that against Shauna Bannon. A loss to Denise Gomez, and then a win over Marnik Mann. So, it seems like Brazil loses to the half-decent fighters she faces. Let's see. Juan is 1 year the older, 32-31. They're the same height, 5'6", 168 centimeters. They brought Bruna Brazil up from strawweight for a reason. That's all I'm going to say. If the odd, I haven't looked at the odds. Let me see. bestfightodds.com. Let's see what they have for UFC 312. Hey, they have some of the odds for Invicta up. That's interesting. Where's this weekend? The 8th? Let me see. UFC 312. What the heck? They don't have the odds for... They only have like... the odds for like 2 or 3 fights for this weekend. What the heck? Oh, I'm sorry. That's... Okay, I found them. Let's see. Juan is the odds-on favorite for everybody. Looks like the best you can get is minus 395 through DraftKings. Best odds for Bruna Brazil are plus 333 through Betway. Yeah, there's a reason that Juan's the favorite. She's the bigger fighter. She's the heavier hitter. I mean, they pick Juan to win. Would it be hilarious if Bruna Brazil pulled the upset? Oh, yeah, for sure. And then she'd be getting the Victoria Leonardo treatment after that. Yeah, Zaz says I was reported for showing Wang. Yeah. All right, let's talk about this one. The co-main event. Co-main event of the evening. Weili Zhang versus Tatiana Suarez. Strawweight championship. Zhang coming in at 25-3. Suarez coming in at 10-0. Zhang has won her last 4 since even before reclaiming the title. She defeated Joanna 2.5 years ago. Then Esparza a little over 2 years ago. Fought Amanda Lemos a year and 5 months ago. And then 9 months ago defeated Yan Xiaonan. Pretty sparse lately. But then again, you look at Suarez. She fought Jessica Andrade a year and a half ago. Her return fight was at flyweight a year and 11 months ago, where she beat Montana De La Rosa. Okay. And then her last fight before that was against Nina Nunes back in 2019. So age-wise, Suarez is 1 year younger at 34 to 35. Both are approaching that danger zone. And I think I can't remember what the stats say, if it's like at 35 or over 35, where like fighter champions almost never retain the title. I think it's like 36 and above, but it might be 35 and above, which is bad for Zan. Let's see. Suarez is 1 inch taller, 5'5", 165 centimeters to 5'4", 163 centimeters. Suarez has a reach advantage as well, like a real advantage. 66 inches, 168 centimeters to 63 inches, 160 centimeters for Zan. I honestly don't know who wins this. I don't know who wins. I'm not sure. Who do I want to win? I'm not a big not a big Zan fan, but I'm cheering for Zan because Suarez does not deserve this shot. Like, she swerved 2 title eliminators last year. And Virna Jandiroba has to sit out till April. She was supposed to fight, because Suarez was supposed to fight Virna Jandiroba in November. And now Virna doesn't get to fight until April. If anything, she should have been the backup for this weekend. At least the backup to Suarez. I mean, yeah, has Suarez been absolutely dominant? Yeah. But she also has 2 fights in the last 5 freaking years, and only one of them was at strawweight. I mean, almost 6 years. So who knows what she shows up looking like? I'm surprised she's made it this far. I'm surprised she's actually made it to fight week, if I'm being all honest. Whereas at least Zan, she doesn't fight as often as I would prefer. She only fought once last year, and I think, twice, I guess, the year before that? Once? Let me see. She fought twice in 2022, including winning the title, but then fought once in 2023 and once in 2024. And we know she hasn't been injured, like, that we know for sure, because she lives in the gym practically. She just likes to take long breaks between fights and wants, long notifications for when she's fighting so that she can retool her camp. So at least that I understand. But she's not like constantly injured. And that's one thing. Like, okay, let's say Suarez wins. Can we count on her to stay healthy as a champ? I don't trust her to stay healthy. Like, we have nothing. There's like no reassurances that she will. Whereas like Zan sometimes puts up boring fights, but at least she fights. Now, whether or not Zan can defeat the takedown game of Suarez, I don't know. Maybe she can win in the scrambles. That's kind of iffy too. I mean, striking wise, Zan should not be afraid of Suarez, because Suarez only strikes to get into the takedown. But that takedown's going to happen. Can Suarez finish Zan? I doubt it. I really doubt that. Can Zan finish Suarez? I mean, Zan has more ways to finish fights. That we know for sure. But can she do it? I mean, Suarez has a big freaking chin. That's a big target. It'll be interesting to see. I don't have a pick. I'm cheering for Zan. because Suarez did not deserve this shot, because it's based almost entirely on fights from 2019 and before. So yeah, I'm not excited about what's going to happen here, because then we could get stuck with a champ who then never defends. All right, we're back up on X. Hey, to the people watching on X, apologies. Looks like my internet got interrupted. Apologies for that. So yeah, I don't have a pick on this, but I am cheering for Suarez. Or no, I'm cheering for Zan, which probably means Suarez will win. I hate how much often that happens. Za in the chat says, I'm not sure about the main event. All my degen gambling bros think Suarez is some kind of lock, but I can't shake the view she's a cripple who can't make it to the ring and needed this to be gifted. Yeah, that's the thing. Everyone's going to say, well, she earned it. She's beating champs. She's beating former champs. It's like those wins were all years ago. And the division is totally different. Like, okay, let's say Suarez's two best wins are Carla Esparza, and let's say Grasso. Since then, all of Grasso's best work since then was up a division. And that win against Grasso, 2018. May of 2018. So that's just about 7 years old. So one of her best wins is 7 years old now. And the win over Esparza came in September of 2018. So again, 6.5 years old. And what did she do? What did Suarez do since then? Barely escaped with a win against Nina Nunes. And then sat on the sidelines for years. Whereas what did Esparza do since that loss? Since that loss, Esparza went on a tear. Defeated Jandiroba, defeated Grasso herself, defeated Michelle Watterson, then Marina Rodriguez, then Yan Xiaonan, then Rose Namajunas to reclaim the title, and then lost to Zan again. But people want to say, oh, well, she beat a former champion Esparza, and look what Esparza did since then. It's like, yeah, bro, that was like 6.5 years ago. What did Suarez have anything to do with what Esparza did after? Nothing. Like Suarez, for the last 6 years, has been a what if, basically. Like, she came back and defeated Jessica Andrade, which, hey, and we're back. Apologies. I don't know what's going on with my internet tonight. I think it's like storming outside. So where was I? Yeah. Suarez has one win in the strawweight division in the last how many years? And it was against a girl who had already gotten finished twice in that year and knocked out 3 months before that. I mean, honestly, Jessica Andrade probably should not have been allowed to take that fight. Where was that at? Oh, it was in Tennessee. So, yeah, if it had happened like a more state with a better commission, it probably wouldn't have been allowed to happen. Anyway, keep having internet trouble. So, I'm going to end this here. Thank you to everyone who tuned in both on YouTube and X. First stream in well over a year for me. Thank you all to all who tuned in. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to WMMA Scene Now, the best, most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.